What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here, and I am back with another day of Sopranos Timber. Today we're looking at the 11th episode of Season 6, Cold Stones. Now, Tony and Carmela learned that AJ was fired from his job at Blockbuster. He was taking promotional material and selling it on the side for a profit. And Carmela is just really fed up with AJ's behavior. He doesn't take responsibility for anything. He doesn't have any work ethic. And on top of all of that, she's also disappointed that her spec house fell through and she's not going to be able to build it. And she wants to take a vacation and kind of get away from things. So she decides she wants to go on a trip to Paris with Rosalie. After some convincing, Tony agrees that she should go and have some fun, and he gives her some money for the trip. Meanwhile, Vito surprises Tony by showing up while he's at the mall, and he points out that his brother Brian is standing guard. It's so Tony doesn't, try to do anything to Vito. But this is the first time we're seeing Brian after he got the brain damage in Season 3 from Mustang Sally. But Vito says that he wants back into the business, he wants to come back to life, and he knows that he can't go back to construction because those guys are too homophobic, but he wants to set himself up in Atlantic City, running meth and girls, and he offers Tony $200,000 as a gift to allow him to come back in. Now, Tony is open to the idea because, one, he doesn't want to kill Vito for being gay, but two, this will also be a nice income stream for the family. However, his men are not happy about it. And there's an interesting detail that Sil says that Richie disowned his son when he found out he was gay. But we saw in the last episode that Richie was in when he was killed by Janice, that he still had a relationship with his son. He was complaining about the fact that, his son was into dancing and things like that, but it didn't look like he disowned him at that point. So I'm wondering when it's possible that he could have disowned his son, given the fact that he immediately dies there. It's possible that maybe he wrote it into his will that his son gets nothing, and that's what Sil means by disinherited. But an interesting detail there. But Phil, too, is also really upset that Tony hasn't killed Vito yet. He thinks it's a stain on his honor, and on top of all of this, he and Tony are having business disputes, and the Vito thing is just kind of a distraction on top of all of that. So, with pressure on both sides, Tony decides that Vito has to go for the sake of business. But before he can arrange to have Vito taken out, Vito is attacked by Phil and his men. They ambush him at his hotel, and there's an interesting detail here, which is that Phil emerges from the closet. He was hiding there so Vito didn't see him. But this is kind of an obvious detail that Phil has some maybe hidden homosexual desires of his own. Some fans think that he might be secretly gay. That's why he hates Vito so much and wants him dead, is because it's kind of a self-hating thing. And of course, this closet detail just kind of adds to that. In either case, though, he has Vito beat to death right in front of him. And the way that he's grabbing the sheets makes it seem like this might be kind of like a sexual thrill to him. But meanwhile, Carmela and Rosalie go to Paris, and they're enjoying being in a new environment, in a new city and culture. And Rosalie is having the time of her life. She meets this young French guy, they're flirting, and she's just having a grand old time. But Carmela is being kind of a downer. She has these long philosophical thoughts, thinking about life and everything that's going on there. But she also brings up a lot of negative stuff. At dinner, she brings up Rosalie's dead husband and son, and Rosalie gets pissed at her for kind of ruining their vacation by bringing all this negative stuff from their life when they're supposed to be having a fun trip. And all of this really reminds me of Tony. Carmela is very similar to Tony in a circumstance, who meanders from wistfulness to depression. And we can see Carmela's kind of doing the same thing here. She has a negative mental attitude, and it is kind of ruining everyone's good time. However, right before they head back to New Jersey, Carmela has a dream about Adriana, and in the dream, she's able to realize that Adriana is dead. Her subconscious basically tells her this, and she is left with the realization that this person she cared for was probably murdered by Christopher. So we'll see where that goes next episode. Meanwhile, back in New Jersey, the guys' reaction to Vito's death is mixed. Some are really happy that he's gone, they didn't want anything to do with him anymore, while others feel like New York has disrespected them by killing one of their own. One of the guys, however, though, is really happy because he borrowed $20,000 from Vito, knowing that he would be dead soon, so he basically just got free money from Vito. But Tony is pissed that Phil killed one of his captains without his permission. It's a disrespect to him personally. He feels he needs to retaliate, so he decides to blow up Phil's wire room in order to get some revenge and even the score here. However, before they can make this move, one of Phil's men, Fat Dom Gamiello, who actually participated in the murder of Vito, visits the New Jersey crew. And he starts taunting them about Vito, and this leads into a big fight where they end up stabbing him to death and killing him. And we can see here that this whole conflict is going to lead into a bad situation between New York and New Jersey. There's just so much tension on both sides. Both sides feel like they've been disrespected and they need to do something about it. And we can see that this is going to cause a lot of problems starting from here. Meanwhile, Tony is sick of AJ's lack of motivation. He complains to Melfi that he should have hit AJ growing up. The only reason he didn't is because Carmela wouldn't let him. And if he did do that, AJ might have grown up tougher. However, Melfi correctly states that Tony secretly is jealous of AJ. He really wishes his mother had been as protective as Carmela was. So we can see here that a lot of Tony's resentment for AJ comes from his own internal problems with his own mother. Again, I know AJ is a little shit, but I will defend him from the fact that he had very bad parenting. And in many ways, Tony is tougher, but he's a lot worse than AJ when it comes to how he deals with his emotional problems. But Tony decides that enough is enough, and he forces AJ to work a construction job that he got him and threatens to kick him out of the house if he doesn't shape up. So at the end of the episode, AJ is heading to his job, and this is going to lead into a whole host of things this season based on who he meets there. But we'll deal with that next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next Soprano log coming tomorrow. On the 11th day of Sopranos timbre, my Gumar gave to me 11 emerald pipers, 10 little Lord Fuckpants, 9 fishy ladies, 8 maids a-cleaning, 7 ducks pool swimming, 6 seasons long, 5 onion rings, 4 calling cards, 3 French whores, 2 Tonys, and a Sopranos prequel movie. Special thank you to my patrons Hunter, Tommy Smith, Abdallah Alamari, Russell, Sean, Graham, Rooftop, Rico Bellic, Heart of Markness, Broccoli, Isaiah, Placentawan, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Lance Klump, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, James, Conchok Chofel, Obstacle Racing Media, Daz J. Kit, William Lanson, and Conan Higgins.